Welcome to Empowered by Iron, hosted by Dr. Kristin Lander from Fiercely Fueled Nutrition Coaching and Mary Morton from Grad Gains, the online resource for your fitness needs. Together, we are empowered by iron.
I always thought I just wanted to look good until I realized what it felt like to be strong. So today we're going to talk about why you don't have to look like your goals.
So I'm a little bit more well-versed, I'd say, in like the fitness YouTube community, because that's my generation. We're very on YouTube, like we don't have TV, whatever. And I follow a lot of these people on Instagram. And I might get a little flack for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I am so tired of seeing glute workouts. I'm so tired of people thinking that they need to build their butt. They need to look a certain way. They need to be a certain way.
And then be half naked on the internet.
And then be half naked and talk about self-worth and be half naked. Like, I'm sure that they're very nice people and that what they do, you know, they inspire a lot of people, and that's fantastic. But for me, I always get this sense of fake about it because it makes people think that they have to look that way to be that thing. So like if they want to be a power lifter, they need to look like this certain power lifter. Or if they want to be a weightlifter, they need to look like a certain weightlifter. But that's second to what's important.
Right.
So I've been having a lot of struggles recently with just this whole quote-unquote fitness community, which is hardly fitness anymore. It's like, hey, look at me, I'm naked community, and that's how you get followers. And that's something that I will never do. Is I'm not an Instagram model. I will never be an Instagram model. I don't like showing off my half-naked body. It's weird to me. It's mine. Stop looking at it. I'm more concerned about what I can do and what people can do and what are they doing with their lives, you know? And I mean, this is kind of a rant, but the one thing that I find being a female at the gym is that people assume I'm there to lose weight and people assume I'm there to look a certain way.
That you have aesthetic goals.
That I have aesthetic goals. And yes, sure, would I like a six-pack? Sure. If I could just like tomorrow wake up and have a six-pack, I would. But I'm more concerned with hitting a certain snatch total, hitting a certain clean and jerk total. You know, I want these other goals, strength-related goals that are not aesthetics.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of people out there like me and like you who are way more interested in what they can do, but they're the minority. And so people just assume that they have to look a certain way. They need to look a certain way,
right.
You know? You were just telling me that a lot of people that you know, they say, oh, well, you're too tiny to be a weightlifter. Well, if you show a picture of Sarah Robles, would they look at that and go, oh, well, she couldn't be a weightlifter? And you'd be like, no, she's an Olympian. Like,
right.
People are so concerned with what other people think how they look than they are concerned with how people respond to what they want to do, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's always really weird to me when people say like, oh, how are you possibly a weightlifter? Like, you're so tiny, which, by the way, I'm not. I'm really not tiny. I mean,
you're really tall.
I'm tall. I'm really tall for a weightlifter. And that's a hindrance. And it makes me so mad when people are like, oh, but you're so tiny. I'm like, no, I'm too fucking big. Okay. I'm too tall. But the other thing is like this, people seeing me in my regular everyday clothes. I don't think anyone in our gym would say, oh, you don't look like a weightlifter. I think you put me in leggings and a tank top and I look like I can move some weight. But
right.
The issue is like, why? What does a weightlifter look like?
Yeah, it's just like with anyone else. It's like, what are they supposed to look like? Are they supposed to look a certain way? Like, right. Do you expect someone to look a certain way? And this is some reason I never got into bikini competing, because you are supposed to look a certain way.
Yeah.
You are judged with how you look, how you dress, how your makeup looks, how your tan looks, which to me is absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
You're like, so I don't think anyone will get this reference except for maybe like a few people. But I used to be in 4-H and I would show livestock. In order for livestock to be shown, you have to pretty it up. You have to give it a bath. you have to shave it and make it look beautiful, and then you have to strut it around a ring. And that's exactly what bikini competitors do. They get prettied, they strut around in a circle on stage, and then they're judged. And if someone says, your butt's not big enough, I could have liked your shoulders to have a little bit more muscle. And like, what does that do to your ego?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? You might not even know this, but when I, back years ago when I was in my 20s, I was interested in fitness and I was working at a gym and I was lifting weights and I liked trying to get stronger, but I'm really competitive and I wanted to compete in something. But I'm not really good at like sports. And so I didn't really know what was out there, but I was like, well, I'm like good at working out. So I would read fitness magazines, and like the natural progression then became like, oh, maybe I should do some like fitness competitions. And so I never really like planned to do one, but I kind of trained that way. And so like bodybuilding type stuff.
Yeah.
And then it became really clear to me, like, I was never good. Nothing I did was ever going to be good enough. Like, even the women that I would follow on Facebook, this is probably before Instagram, I would follow women on Facebook that were bikini competitors and whatever, and they looked amazing, and they didn't win because of some stupid thing, like their shoulders were not like peaky enough or so. I don't even know, the stuff I didn't even understand. And I thought, like, what in the hell? I don't want to be any part of a sport like that. And that's actually what led me into like powerlifting style training and CrossFit and weightlifting, because I was way more concerned with what my body could do.
It's objective.
It's absolutely objective. Like, did I lift the weight or did I not lift the weight?
When I plug it into this little formula, how do I rank amongst these other women who weigh the same or even different than me?
Right.
Where do I sit?
Yeah.
And it's just like when I was showing livestock. If I had a bad show day, I know a lot of you are probably laughing, but I loved it. It was like my favorite thing to do. If I had a bad show day, if my goat or my livestock didn't do well, the thing that someone would tell me is it's a certain judge's opinion on a certain day. And that's exactly what that competition is like. It's someone's opinion of you.
It is.
And the problem that I have, and this is something I struggle with, because just like you, when I first got into fitness, I didn't really know. I just saw girls in magazines and tans and makeup, and I thought, that's what I want to do. But I could never bring myself to do it, because walking around on stage in a bikini scares the absolute bejesus out of me because I hate bikinis. Not that I look bad in them or anything. I just hate bikinis. When I would go to the beach, I would wear shorts and a t-shirt because I'm a tomboy and I wanted to swim. I didn't care how I looked. But that's totally off topic. My problem is that a lot of our youth, a lot of our younger generation, while I think that there is a great movement into getting them into more strength-related sports, they are just still like overflowed with this idea of they need to look this way. Right. They need to perceive themselves in this manner because that's what gets you popular. That's what gets you famous. That's what wins you competitions.
Yeah, well, and that's what gets you a YouTube following and an Instagram following and a Facebook following and all of these things. And suddenly people start thinking that how they look is what's important, and it's not.
And it's not.
But I mean, to those of you out there that do compete in figure competitions and stuff, I mean, I give you all the credit in the world. Like, that is a hard thing, and I know you do it for the love of it, and that's awesome. But we just want women to know, if you are doing that, or that's the only type of fitness that you know about, that's not all that's out there. And if having someone judge you on your body doesn't sound appealing to you, you don't have to go that route. You can do other things to compete and still lift weights and train every day and whatever.
Have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Kristin said it a lot nicer than I did. I have no good feelings toward, and I'll say it, I have no good feelings toward any sort of bikini or figure competition. I've seen people come back from it. So many people come back damaged, whether they did it the better way, which, they didn't starve themselves, they did it properly, but they always come back a little bit depressed because it's a completely different topic, I think, than what I wanted to talk about. But basically what we're trying to say is you don't have to look like your goals. If you want to lift, if you want to have a total that's 500 pounds or 500 kilos and you weigh, 120 kilos, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you a good person? And that's all that matters. And it drives me nuts that people talk about their self-worth as though, like, it's hard for, like, oh, I used to not like the way that I looked, yada, yada. Like, you are more than your body. You are more than your skin. You are more than your intestines. You are more than your blood. What you can do to change the world is what defines you, not how you look in a fucking bikini. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I got really heated, and I apologize.
That's awesome. I agree. It doesn't matter. You are more than your looks. And really, to be honest, you're more than what you do in the gym.
Absolutely.
You're more than what your total is. You're more, like, don't put yourself where we talk about being empowered by iron. And to be really clear, it's about how working out and being strong has not just changed us physically, but how that has changed us mentally, and how we have learned better self-worth through doing something that is good for us and nourishes us. But it's not, our self-worth isn't wrapped up in how much we can squat and how much we can deadlift, right, and what our total is and what place we got at X meet. I mean, that's just something we do for the love of it. But right, the magic is really, like, who do you become because of it?
Yeah. And ironically, I think the more time I spend in the gym and the more time I train, I start to realize, like, yeah, I mean, it's really fun, but it's totally insignificant in my life. Like, if I couldn't train for the rest of my life tomorrow, I'm still mentally strong because of what I did, but it's okay. Yeah. Because I know that I can take what I've learned and I can apply it to other parts of my life and make those great and amazing and influential and change what I can about the world. There's nothing to do with the gym.
Right. Interesting note, because I'm injured right now. And so I haven't really...
So you've got to explore this a little bit.
I really have. And this was always my biggest fear, was having an injury. Like, once I really got into weightlifting, having an injury that would take me out. I haven't had any sort of injury in a long time. I used to have a series of, like, injuries, but I haven't had an injury.
Which we'll get into one day, because that's a fun story.
Right. But I haven't had an injury in a really long time. In fact, since I switched over to Olympic weightlifting, I've been the healthiest I've ever been in terms of just my body function. But I was being a stupid meathead in the gym one day, and I hurt my back, and I thought, like, everything would be fine. And I've been out of lifting for a month. I mean, I've been doing some other things. I've been doing I do what I can. I don't train 5 or 6 days a week anymore. I train like 3 or 4, and I go in and I do what I can. But I was so afraid, like, if ever I did become injured, like, what would happen if I didn't have weightlifting? Would your world
explode? Like, it's
honestly, I mean, I'm sad. I miss it. I was hoping to do a meet coming up in a month, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. But, like, I'm okay. Okay. Everything's okay. I will go back to it. I'm not saying, like, I'm going to quit. Like, oh, I'm injured and I'm going to quit. Like, no, I'm trying to fight my way back. But it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. I think that's something that really needs to be spoken, is it is not the end of the world. If you miss a workout, if your body doesn't look the way that your goals are masterminded, like, I know for me right now, getting my PhD, focusing on weightlifting, and trying to build this podcast into the amazing community I know it can, I mean, that's what takes my energy. Sure, I could diet down right now and try to have a 6-pack, but it's not important because my goals don't focus on that. I'm going to hit a fucking amazing total with my weightlifting, whether I'm a 69 or whether I'm a 63, whether I'm a 75. Like, I'm going to hit a big total. It doesn't matter. What matters to me is bringing people together, bringing women together who have been empowered by iron and build a community. It matters to me to get a PhD, so maybe I can do some research that might help someone one day. And it matters to me to weightlift because, I mean, I love that.
Everyone has to have a hobby.
You have to have something that, what's the quote? You have to have something that fulfills you, that supports you financially, that fulfills you mentally and keeps you healthy.
Right.
And that's basically what I'm working on. So I think to wrap this all up, before I start kicking myself in the butt for saying too many things, guys, it doesn't matter how you look. Like, if you have aesthetic goals, that's great. But remember that that's not the most important thing. You are more than the way that you look. You are how you act. So let your actions speak louder than your words.
And your looks.
And your looks, because that doesn't matter. All right. That's it. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.
If you like what you heard today, please help us connect with other female badasses. We would love if you would leave us a review on iTunes, tell your friends about us, visit our website, which is empoweredbyiron.com. You can find each of us on Instagram. Mary is at MaryMo_92, and Kristin is at Kristin with an I, Lander. Future topics will include nutrition, programming and training, mental health, and just general female badassery.
Yeah, so let us know what you want to hear. If you have any input, that'd be awesome. And guys, this is Empowered by Iron. We want it to be a resource and an outlet for women who are finding their confidence, their independence, and their strength through iron. So thank you for listening. Thank you for checking in. And until next time, I'm Mary.
I'm Kristin.
And this is Empowered by Iron.